Welcome. Previously we learned about a kushya mimakom chazak neged makor chalash. In such a case, there's a difficulty with a statement made by a weaker authority because a stronger authority says something that disagrees. We are alerted that such a kushya is about to come up by the function words eitve, meitve, and mativ. Today we will learn about a kushya called a stirot, a contradiction. A stirot is different. In the case of a stirot, both statements are made by the same authority. The nature of the difficulty of a stirot is as follows. Either statement can be true, but not both. Let's see what we mean. Let's say the school principal makes two statements. In statement 1, he says that there's no school tomorrow. In statement 2, he says there is school tomorrow. What's the problem here? Since he's the principal, either one of these statements can be true. But because the same authority, the principal, makes both of these statements, we have a difficulty. We have a contradiction, a stirah. Either one of these statements can be true, but not both. Now, let's look at this using our kushya structure. We're going to change it a little bit. If you recall, our original structure was, it is difficult to make statement 1 if we also make statement 2. For a stirah, we will replace the word if with the word and. It is difficult to make statement 1 and also make statement 2. One of these statements can be true, but not both. Let's look at this using our example. It is difficult if the principal says there is no school tomorrow and he also says there is school tomorrow. We don't know which is true. We just know that it's impossible to not have school and have school on the same day. Now, in the Gemara, Stirot come up in several ways. Here are a few examples. If there are two psukim that seem to disagree, the Torah is the one authority, the authority of Hashem, so it is difficult. We have two psukim that contradict one another. Also, we have a stirah if a Mishnah and a Mishnah, or a Braita and a Braita, or a Mishnah and a Braita make statements that seem to contradict each other. It is important to note that Mishnayot and Braitot, where no one Tana is quoted, are called Stam. A Stam Mishnah or Braita are considered one authority since we understand them to represent the opinions of all Tanaim. So it is difficult if they seem to contradict each other. Finally, there are Stirot in which the same Tana or Amorah seem to contradict himself. Now, let's take a moment to discuss what is not a Stirah. If there are two different opinions expressed by two different but equal authorities, this is not a stirah, this is a machloket, a dispute. So, when we see Tanaim such as Hillel and Shammai that disagree with each other, or Amoraim such as Rav and Abaya that disagree with each other, this is not a stirah, this is a machloket. To review, a stirah is when the same authority makes two statements that don't seem to agree. A machloket is where two different but equally important authorities disagree. Now, here are the function words that the Gemara uses to tell us that a stirah is coming. Now, the word rami means literally he throws it, but in the Gemara it means he pointed out a contradiction. Also, the Gemara will use the words uramini or uraminu to indicate that there is a contradiction between them. Now, let's look at some examples of stirot raised in the Gemara. The first example is a stirah between two psukim. In the first pasuk, we learn from the words meitav sadehu, the best of his field, that when we make a payment for damages we have caused, we have to use our very best crops. But then, Rami le Abaye le Rava, Abaye raises a contradiction to Rava. True, it says meitav sadehu. But the Torah also says Yashiv, which seems to indicate that we can pay for damages we have caused using anything whatsoever, not necessarily our best. Let's look at the stirah using our stirah structure. It is difficult to say, based on the first pasuk, that one must pay from the best of his crops, and also say, based on the second pasuk, that one may pay using anything. We have a stirah because it seems that it could be one or the other, but not both. Either you have to pay from the best of your crops, or you can pay from any of your crops. Here's another example of a stirah raised in the Gemara. Our Mishnah teaches, Misveika lo sarfinon truma. We never burn truma if we are uncertain about its status. Uramini, we have a contradiction from another Mishnah which states, Al shisha sveikot sarfin et truma. In 6 cases, we indeed do burn truma based on an uncertainty. Let's look at this using our Stirot structure. It is difficult to say in one Mishnah that we do not burn truma based on a safek, and also say in another Mishnah we burn truma based on 6 sveikot. So, let's review. The Gemara will raise a challenge if 2 statements are made by the same source, and either one of these statements can be true, but not both. Examples of Stirot in the Gemara include contradictions between Psukim, Mishnayot, Braitot, a Mishnah and a Braita, and the same Tana or the same Amorah. A Machloket is different than a Stirah. A Machloket is a difference of opinion between 2 equal authorities. Finally, the function words that the Gemara uses to teach us that is about to raise a Stirah include Rami and Uraminu. It was a pleasure learning with you. Let's do it again soon.